show, Bring It On. I'm your hostess, Shin Ah-young. In this season, you met all 18 presenters. They talked about the different culture, tradition, history, and system that made up our colorful world. And now, this is the moment we've all been waiting for. Today, we will be crowning our new champion, who will go home with the prize money. The game begins now. Let's start by meeting our judges. First, he reminded us of his greatness this whole season. Last season's champion, One Kind, hello.
Hey!
He's got a beautiful smile and the brains to back it up. Punita, welcome back.
Hello.
He is the toughest nut to crack among the judges. To fear him is to know him. From Russia, Ilya. And our special judge, we haven't seen him in a while. Let's welcome back from season 2, Fabian.
Yeah!
Yeah!
Hey guys, good to be back again, and I wish you all three good luck. Bring it on.
Today is the grand finale. 3 presenters made it through the preliminaries and the redemption round to make it this far. The first to earn the golden ticket, Zahid from Pakistan. Hello.
In Pakistan, a huge frog important. Some animals which are going away.
Zahid with 74 points. Congratulations. Oh! 4 out of 4. All of the judges voted for Zahid.
Next, Alia from Indonesia, who survived last week's semifinals. And you made it here. Welcome back.
Survivor! You're a survivor.
Combine all this animal movement to fight back. And one in here. So
Equal energy. I love it. We're gonna
Alia, congratulations.
Next, from Ecuador, he brings the passion and energy from South America to the studio. Saulo, hello.
Hello. Hola! ¿Qué tal?
I'm Saulo from Ecuador. I know that because I know that it's used.
Down a little bit. Just follow me.
And that is Saulo from Ecuador.
Zahid, Saulo, and Alia, you've made it so far. You've made it to the grand finale. So let us find out who will go home the champion. Now here on Bring It On, your opinion matters. Application votes count for 30% of the total score. So log on to our Bring It On application and vote for your favorite presentation. Today, your vote decides this season's champion. So let's start. Today's topic, what will it be? Let's find out. The final topic for this season is music. We all love music in this season. We've had some amazing performances, right? Dance music. So today's topic is traditional music as a PR tool. Now let's start with Indonesia. Indonesia is a very multicultural country, which means that there are a lot of variety of music, right?
Right, that's right. And then today I will bring gamelan for my presentation. It's one of traditional music from Indonesia.
Gamelan.
Wow.
Yes, it is.
Gamelan. I've never heard of that before. Can you show us?
We are having fun, and please choose us to be the one. 감사합니다.
Alia, for sharing that with us. Let's move to Pakistan. Zahid, what kind of music are there in Pakistan?
Well, we have several different kinds of music in Pakistan. We have folk, traditional. Two famous types of music in Pakistan are ghazal and Qawwali, and I'm going to present today about Qawwali in my presentation today.
Qawwali.
Yeah,
Qawwali music. Can we hear some of that? I know you are an excellent singer.
Oh, yeah, I was thinking to, there is a professional group in Korea. I was thinking to bring them, but then I thought, why not myself?
Yeah.
So I have prepared a Qawwali for you guys. Some of my friends, I'm thankful to them, they're here to help me. So, yes, let's do this.
Okay, let's hear it.
मस्त कलंदर मस्त मस्त दम मस्त कलंदर मस्त दम मस्त कलंदर मस्त मस्त दम मस्त कलंदर मस्त दम मस्त कलंदर मस्त मस्त दम मस्त कलंदर मस्त दम मस्त कलंदर मस्त मस्त दम मस्त कलंदर मस्त दम मस्त कलंदर मस्त मस्त दम मस्त कलंदर मस्त दम मस्त कलंदर मस्त मस्त दम मस्त कलंदर मस्त
Thank you for sharing that with us, Zahid. Let's move on to Ecuador. Now, Ecuador, we can't talk about music without talking about South America, am I right?
Yes, of course. Ecuadorian music is very diverse, but perhaps one of the most known in the world is indigenous Indian music, and you can hear it everywhere in a lot of countries. It's perhaps the most performed traditional Ecuadorian music outside of Ecuador. You can even hear it here sometimes in Korea, in the subways, in festivals and stuff.
Oh.
Yeah.
You've prepared something for us, obviously, right?
Yes. Some
Okay,
friends
let's
have-
bring it on to the stage. Now that's the topic for this episode's Bring It On, music as a means of promoting a country. Let's start the presentations.
We're gonna be in the unit. So how about you in the gym? Yeah, that's
This is how our point system works. From the judges, 40%, studio audience, 10%, from the Bring It On application, 30%, and with a successful talkback session, one presenter will earn a bonus 20%. The total scores will determine first, second, and third places. Now, if you're in the studio, listen carefully to the presentation and get ready to toss some questions during the Q&A session. If you're watching the studio recording live via our website or YouTube channel, please remember to vote and also send us your comments and suggestions. We love hearing from you. And today, especially, your vote is very important. Your vote will determine this season's champion. Now, with that said, let's begin the presentations. Our first presenter is Zahid from Pakistan. His title is Traditional Qawwali Music Fusion Project. Now, Zahid, you have 4 minutes. You know the protocol. But before you begin, here's a message from your supporters.
best wishes from all of us here at the Embassy of Pakistan. Pakistan Zindabad.
Viewers of Bring It On, today you're gonna have a great time here because the topic is awesome today, and that's my favorite topic. I'm sure Salo and Oli are having great things from their lovely countries for you guys, but I have a cool thing for you too, that is Pakistan's traditional music Qawwali and its fusion projects with other music types. Now, let me start with some basics of Qawwali. It was originated in South Asia almost 700 years ago. It is a fusion of Turkish, Arabic, Persian and Urdu music. Qawwali has a deep philosophy behind it, and that is Sufism. And if you guys don't know about Sufism, it is the philosophy of purifying one's inner self and beautifying it with praiseworthy traits. So that's why the poetry of the song in Qawwali is highly spiritual in meaning. The central themes are always love and devotion. So Qawwali is not just the music that will listen and go, it is the message that you get from the song, because that is about love and devotion in life. You can see in the picture some famous qawwals trying to give that message to the people. Here you see a little qawwal playing some qawwali in his elementary school. That's myself right there. Now, the instruments used in qawwali, basically there are three instruments: tabla, harmonium, and dholak. Without these three basic instruments, qawwali is almost incomplete. Now, a band of qawwali has 5 to 10 members, one leading singer who is called the qawwal, and he's the main vocalist, and he controls the entire game because it's, as I said, it's about giving a message, so his vocals are very important, how effective you give that message to the listeners. And 1 to 2 assisting singers with harmonium, 1 to 2 members with tabla and dholak. Now, let us talk about the fusion projects of Qawwali with other music around the world. First, international fusion. Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan is a big name in Qawwali from Pakistan. He's the king of Qawwali, the voice of heaven. His name is in the Guinness World Record books for producing 125 successful Qawwali albums in his lifetime. And he did a lot of work for Qawwali and Western music fusion by working with artists like Michael Brook from Canada and Eddie Vedder from the United States. With Michael Brook, he released an album called Night Songs, and it was nominated for the Grammy Awards in 1997. And he also gave some famous soundtracks to movies with Eddie Vedder. And here is one example of that movie, Dead Man Walking. If you guys remember, it was in 1996. So this was a fusion of Qawwali with Western music with Eddie Vedder and Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan. You guys remember this movie? Anybody? No?
I know the title.
Yeah, but this was the song that was fusion of Qawwali and Western music right there. So now, the national fusion of Qawwali, within Pakistan, a lot of activities are going around to promote Qawwali and to beautify it more and more and to make it modernized. So Coke Studio is a big music industry in Pakistan, and they are taking this project of Qawwali fusion with jazz, pop, and rock music using latest instruments and innovative ideas to make it very adaptable to the new generation. And a lot of new things are coming into Qawwali right now. And now, a lot of foreigners are taking interest in Qawwali too, and they are making their own bands in their countries. You know, I will show you a video here of all these foreign, non-Pakistani bands. These will show different clips. We have Qawwali bands in England, in United States, and also different parts of the world. Yeah, these are the US Qawwali group. And now the Korean Qawwali group. I have been doing some activities with them recently. They're cool too. So they're doing the fusion of Qawwali with Korean music, and that's all about Qawwali. I'll finish with the message of Qawwali. Let's promote love and peace through music. Thank you very much for listening.
Well, all the information was just packed in that 4 minutes, but I'm sure our judges have some questions. Judges?
That Qawwali has been developed in other countries such as Korea or in the States or England.
Yeah.
And in Qawwali you sing, right?
Yeah.
So how can you like sing if you don't speak the language?
Yes, that's a very good question. So these that's a very good question. I wanted to talk about it. When they have the interest of doing Qawwali, they go to Pakistan, they learn the language, They learn the instruments. Yeah, the Korean Qawwals, I know them, and I have done some events with them. They went to Pakistan, lived in Pakistan. They learned the language. They memorized the songs, and they learned the instruments. And then they came back, and then they started promoting the Pakistani love in the form of Qawwali in their country.
So they actually sing in that.
Yes, yes. Qawwali is always sung in Urdu language. So they have to go and learn the language.
Sure.
Although you could do fusion, but the basic thing is you have to learn the same language, you know.
Is that spiritual, like, lyrics or just like...
Yes.
Is it random? Spiritual?
Yes, spiritual lyrics. As I said, the philosophy behind Qawwali is Sufism, purifying yourself and beautifying your inner self. So it's more spiritual, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
How would you persuade someone to really fall into this type of music? Someone that's not, I guess, spiritual at all?
Well, it's a music first.
Okay.
It's also a music and the spirituality. So some people just love music and they listen to Qawwali because it has a lot of different beats of music. So people enjoy music. But secondly, as I said, the main thing is giving a message. So I think everybody, we don't need to actually go into spirituality, but just getting the message about life and love and devotion, people like it. So that's how you can create an interest in people for Qawwali.
Okay, now I'm impressed, Zahid. You have all the answers to the questions. Okay, that's all the time we have for question and answers, and it's time to vote. Let's start with our studio audience. Studio audience, please get out your smartphones and get ready to vote. And now for our judges. Now, Zahid has been one of our judges' favorite presenter. What will the scores be like for his final presentation? Let's find out. Judges, get ready to cast your vote.
Representing Pakistan, Zahid HUSSAIN. And the results?
In 3, 2, 1, press the buzzer.
No way.
Am I the only one?
No way.
This is a surprise, definitely. Wow. Let's hear from our judges. First, Fabian, you voted for Zahid. Why is that?
His performance was amazing. And he said in this presentation that the singer in the Qawwali has the main role. And he did that role very well and very good. And he gave us a lot of information on that Qawwali, on that culture that we didn't have. So it looks like he did a lot of work. So that's why I voted for him.
Randy's question, One Kind's question kind of got me thinking otherwise when he asked, what would you say to persuade other people to promote Qawwali? And I guess that's the theme for today, using it as PR. And especially because this isn't just music, it's spiritual, it's sort of religious, you know, and you use certain words, maybe God, maybe certain saints. And if other people aren't used to that, they wouldn't try to be open to this type of music. And I thought that if you would have explained that a little more in further detail, you would have gotten my vote.
1 out of 4 from our judges. That is Zahid's final score from our judges. Now let's find out the total studio points for Zahid. From the judges, 10 points. And from the audience, 9 points for a total of 19 points from the studio. Now, we still have the votes from the application coming in, so we don't know how it's going to end. So if you liked Zahid's presentation, please log on to our application and vote for him. Next, we have Alia from Indonesia. She will be talking about the Indonesian traditional instrument gamelan. But first, here's a video message for you.
Gamelan Indonesia! Yeah!
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Olya, and I'm ecstatic about today's topic, the music ensembles of the gods, gamelan. But first, let's take a look at this video first, shall we? So that is Bali. And here, you hear that music? That's gamelan. So we put gamelan in a lot of a tour program to attract tourists to come to Indonesia to enjoy Indonesia traditional music and culture. Created by Sangyang Guru in the year 167, it predates Hindu and Buddhist culture. And from this picture, you can see the earliest depiction of gamelan ensembles on Borobudur Temple. And you know, Sangyang Guru wanted to connect himself to the gods. How? So he first created this gong to summon with the gods, and it's only first evolved from there. So gamelan is the name of the instruments. Meanwhile, the performance is called karawitan, and it always collaborates with the sinden. It's a singing, traditional dance, and wayang puppetry. You can enjoy gamelan performances at the festivals, carnivals, street arts, and also wedding and traditional ceremonies. So, gamelan is not just a traditional music, but it also gives influences on the contemporary music. And there are philosophies behind it, which is, first, is the spiritual one that connects human beings to gods. And second, because it is played as in a group, so it emphasizes on the community over individual values. That is why the government also put gamelan in one of the activities at school. And there are varieties of gamelan that can be distinguished by the voice, tunings, repertoire, style, and cultural context. Now let's take a look at gamelan around the globe. So gamelan has been an adopted art forms in many countries, such as Canada with the Gamelan World Festival, and moving on, United States with the 200 communities, and in Poland there is a Warsaw Gamelan group, which is the first European gamelan band. And since last year, it has been recognized by UNESCO as one of the World Heritage from Indonesia. Now, with the gamelan global expansions, so there have been major events such as Indonesia Channel 2013 that attracted 176 international students from 54 different countries. Not forget to mention the Yogyakarta Gamelan Festival 2015 that was held in 3 days in 3 different countries, Indonesia, Australia, and United States, with the slogan, "Gamelan belongs to everyone." And it does, because in Australia, in Spain, you can find gamelan in the art museums. And since really a long time ago, there was this guy, he's a classical musician from France named Claude Debussy, that he saw gamelan at the Paris Exposition, and then he developed there, and it's only bringing it even bigger. So you can also find gamelan in Korea, and it has been exist since 2007. It's centralized at the Indonesian embassy, and there have been events and festivals going on in Korea. But however, gamelan in Korea is not as popular as other countries. Why? Because it's lacking promotion from the Indonesian embassy, and actually there are not many experts who can teach gamelan in Korea. I do hope the Indonesian embassy can bring more experts so each of you can have fun with gamelan, because gamelan belongs to everyone.
Okay, thank you.
You said the promotion in Korea is not as advanced in other countries. Why do you think so?
Because we actually have that instruments at the Indonesian embassy 30 years ago.
Right?
Yes, but if you compare it to Poland, to United States, it's not there yet.
But why?
Why?
I don't know. I don't want to make something wrong with the Indonesian embassy.
All they can do is just call the people in Indonesia and recruit professionals to come and
they
teach
actually
gamelan,
can,
right?
and they
Why do you
should,
think it's
they
so hard?
should. I don't know, but those people, like my friends, they have been doing festivals, but the ones who organize that festivals is the own organization and the the Korean organization, the Korean tourism actually asked them as Indonesian to perform. So it's not really from the Indonesian embassy.
If you want to make us interested in gamelan, just by one sentence, what would be that sentence?
Happiness?
It's a word.
Yes. I'm sorry.
Well,
How would
She's
you promote this? Don't push it. Okay,
That's
in
a very
one
nice
sentence,
sentence.
how would you describe it? Gamelan.
In one sentence, I can make all in fact, but absolutely, it takes a lot of skill to play this. So that means that you're kind of challenging yourself. You cannot master this in just 1 month or 2 months. But the master one got to for 3 months. But gamelan, you can compare, you can put it in the contemporary music, and many musicians have done it. So it's really good for to make mix match with rap and instrumental music.
Why don't we take some questions from our studio audience? Raise your hand if you have a question. Yeah, I saw your hand first, so why don't we pass the mic to our gentleman over there?
My question was actually very simple. I was curious about the instruments. Can you tell me something more, like how many you need, and just something like that?
Yeah. Well, there are 8 kinds of the musical instruments. Today, we just brought 3. And then the uniqueness of gamelans is its regions like Java and Bali, they have their own octave, like 7 octaves and then 5 octaves. And there is also like for female octave and male octaves. I tried to memorize it, but oh my God, it's so a lot of information, and 8 basically.
Now that's all the time we have for questions, and it's time to vote. Let's start with our studio audience. Studio audience, please get out your smartphones and get ready to vote. And now let's turn to our judges. Judges, if you liked Alia's presentation, get ready to cast your vote.
Representing Indonesia, Alia Junaidi. And the result?
In 3, 2, 1, press the buzzer. Wow. Our judges are being very tough today. Only one kind voted for Alia. Let's hear the reason, starting from you, one kind.
This was a very hard decision, a really, really hard decision. I wasn't really satisfied with the Q&A session, but with your presentation itself, I felt like you did a very, very great job. And what really captivated me at the beginning of the presentation was the video. The blue waters, how people are playing the instruments. So that really kind of got my attention, and I felt like you explained that genre really well. And you have this winning spirit. I feel like you want it so bad, so I guess that's why I voted for you. I can tell that you really, really want to win, and you put in the effort into your presentation, and I felt that. So that's the reason why I voted for you. I felt like you just want to win. And winners recognize each other, so that's why I voted for you. That's why I voted for you.
Of course, of course.
It was not bad. It was really, really good. What we are saying is just, this is final, so you're supposed to be even better than yourself. And you just didn't in this particular round. But presentation was really good.
Yeah. All the judges are coming from different angles and they have different criteria, but the result is just one vote from one kind. Now let's find out what the studio audience thought of Alia's presentation. Here are the studio points for Alia. From the judges, 10 points. And from the audience, go!
Push it.
5 points for a total of 15 points from the studio. Now, there's still chances for turnarounds because the application votes are still open. The votes will keep on changing until the voting closes. So if you liked Alia's presentation, please log on to our application and vote for her. Our last presenter is Saulo from Ecuador. He was on our first episode and he stayed till the last. So let's hear his presentation. But first, here's a video message from his supporters.
La mejor de las suertes en esta competición. Saulo, fighting.
Welcome everyone. I'm Saulo from Ecuador, as you know. Have you ever heard of indigenous Andean music before today? Have you? Had you?
Nope.
No. Well, then you are in for a ride. Let's go. So traditional music for the world, Ecuador's cultural ambassadors, indigenous bands. What is indigenous music? It defines the traditional music of a territory, a culture share that has been passed through generations. In South America, it's mainly used to define Andean music, which means music from the Andes, the mountains region, you know. Before the 10th century, a little history. Several ethnicities coexisted in Ecuador, but in the year 1438 to 1533, they were conquered by the Inca Empire. They used the common language of Quechua, so that gave place to a common framework for music and culture. After the Spanish conquest, elements of Spanish music were also incorporated into the music. And during the 70s and the 80s, the Nueva Canción movement gave it new life and made it famous. Nowadays, indigenous bands is getting more and more famous around the world. What defines indigenous music? It comes from ritual to festival music, is filled with themes, spiritual themes, connection with the earth, your soul, and everyday themes, and also is made up of ancient instruments, but contemporary ones too. Quena, zampoña are pan flutes, and you can also use guitar and other instruments. Now, the bands as cultural ambassadors. The Nueva Canción movement gave it new life in the 70s to the 80s, and it became famous around the world. Los Jairas, Grupo Aymara, Inti Illimani, etc. were famous bands that fused it with contemporary music. And bands started forming with the first migration wave out of Ecuador in the 60s. There are about 1.8 million immigrants in the world, and about 1 to 3% of them are in some kind of activity related to indigenous music. Foreign public performances became more common, and Europeans welcomed this. After the 90s, the Otavalo nationality made music their main export, and the market has been getting bigger and bigger today. So, now you can see them in several places, in Europe, in Spain, in Canada, Colombia, throughout the world, even here in Korea. They have become more and more popular. During the 2000s, several public performances, such as Leo Rojas, which is a traditional musician that won first place in Germany's Got Talent contest in there, made it even bigger, and expansion began to Asia and other places. Indigenous bands have been steadily becoming popular, as I told you, throughout here, and bands such as Rimai and other persons have been performing in Korea. You can find them in subways, everywhere. Now, indigenous bands let people experience Ecuadorian culture through music. They put up our best face out to the world and serve as diplomatic ambassadors. The Ministry of Culture is also supporting this initiative, and every year we have a program that is cultural ambassadors to the world, and they give them money, they give them feedback, they give them, even formation so that they can go around the world and bring the best of us out of, everyone. And indigenous traditional music is ultimately about joining the earth as one. Music is truly the one universal language. You can use signs, you can look at you like this or this, but you were never sure. So that is the point of this, bringing us together. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Salo, for that presentation that really brought us all together. Now for some questions. Judges?
First, have you been doing like weather forecast in Ecuador? Because you play with your hands like...
No. Actually, I think Latin Americans, we talk a lot with our body. We talk a lot with our body, and expressing yourself physically is one of our main characteristics.
Okay.
So we're very physical, so that...
Ooh. That's not your real question.
That was
right?
not a question. That was just like some.
Okay.
Like,
what's
point.
your question then?
Yeah, my real question is like when you think about like South America, like they like to dance, they like to sing. Like it's the same for everyone. Like in Brazil, in Argentina, in Peru, in Ecuador, and you talked about indigenous bands in Ecuador. What makes it different from like other bands from other countries? Because I know there is a lot in Peru too.
Yeah. Actually, the root itself, as I told you, came from indigenous groups like before even the Spanish conquest, Inca Empire. But each country made it unique. You know? So in Ecuador, one of my previous presentations I also talked about it, there's this traditional music that is a fusion of all the ethnic groups in there, this indigenous Indian music that came from the Incas, and the Spanish influences and French ones too. That unique thing, it's called pasillo, and it became incorporated into our own version of indigenous music. So when you listen to it, like we did a while ago, you can tell this is different from the other ones. Like if you listen to Peru ones, whereas there's a common root, but there's also a spirit that it's unique to the culture, and you can feel it just listening to it. You know?
Okay, now it's time to vote. The final voting session for season 3. Let's start with our studio audience. Studio audience, please get out your smartphones and get ready to vote. And now our judges. Judges?
Representing Ecuador, Salo Aroca. And the results?
Judges, cast your votes for Salo in 3, 2, 1. Press the buzzer. Wow, our judges are very difficult to please today, but of course, understandably, because this is the finals. Now, Fabian, you are the only one who voted for Salo. Why is that?
Ask his guest.
No, actually, I'm really surprised. I thought we were all gonna vote for him because I think his presentation was, of course, the best, and he answered all of the questions just perfectly. And the way he did his presentation was actually very fun. He played, as he said, he played a lot with his hands and with his voice. And he knows what he's talking about. I think like we all asked very like, especially Ilya, he asked like really like specific question and he answered just everything like perfectly, knows what he's talking about. And he actually made us, I mean, at least me, want to learn more about Ecuador like bands and Ecuador music and also Ecuador culture. So I think his presentation was really good. Actually, he didn't perform with his friends, so that was kind of disappointing at first. So I was like, all right, let's see how does the presentation go. And he did it just perfect, so I had no choice but voting for him. That was really good.
Okay, and Ilya, this was your last chance this season to press the buzzer, and of course you passed it up. Why?
Well, firstly and mostly, the presentation itself. I don't like when you do the presentation, when you do the PPT thing, there is always the basic. You don't do the light font on a light background. We can read it from here. Secondly, you don't put too much information on PPT because literally what you were saying was on the slide. You don't do it with PPT presentations.
Okay, that's fair enough. All of our 3 presenters, all of our finalists received only 1 vote from our judges. Let's find out the total score for Saulo from the studio. From the judges, 10 points.
Okay, let's see the audience.
From the studio audience, 7.5 points for a total of 17.5 points. Now, in the studio, this means that Zahid is in the lead, but Bring It On is a global interactive presentation show. It's a two-way street for us, and we listen. So go on to our application and vote for your favorite presentation. Your vote counts for 30% of the total score. Now, our point system, this is how it works. From the judges, 40%, studio audience, 10%, and your vote, Bring It On application, equals 30%, and a bonus 20% for the talkback session. And we will determine the first, second, and third places based on the total score. With that said, it's time for the Fast and Furious. It's time to talk back. It's time to talk back. It's a chance for our presenters to fight and attack back. It's an all-out war for that extra 20 points. Studio audience will grant 10 points and the judges the other 10, making it 20 points at stake, which means that one person could have all 20 points or 2 presenters could split them. Now, the situation in the studio made the talkback session more important than ever. You guys are neck and neck in the studio points, which means that the extra 20 points could decide this season's champion. The atmosphere here is very heated up, befitting of the finals. So you have 3 minutes to outwit your rivals. This is not the time to be polite or nice. Yes. Or to wait.
Yes.
Anything is allowed with the exception of physical violence.
Yes.
So, let's start. 3 minutes to outwit your rivals, and your time starts now.
You said that
me.
this music was originated from the Buddhism and Hindu religious philosophy.
That's
But
right.
if there's some person who doesn't belong to this philosophy or who doesn't
It doesn't matter.
I think
It doesn't matter.
okay,
It has to do with enjoying it. It
No.
doesn't
No,
matter
I mean,
to do with the ideology.
This question was raised to me by one kind
Yes,
that
I
if
understand
somebody
that.
is not interested in God or saints, then how do you attract that person through?
Yeah, but you gotta go
anyone-
through the
Totally
music.
religious.
part
Paulo,
of
wait a
it,
minute. He asked me a question and I want to
Yeah.
answer. So everyone
yes,
can
please.
play gamelan. Everyone is welcome to play gamelan, not based on the religions.
But
and
now,
I wonder
setting that
because
aside,
my
because
question is not
your
everybody
question
can
was-
play. My question is
Your
if
question
those
was
people.
that you're centering on the
Alright.
spirituality thing of both that you, and the theme of the episode doesn't have anything to do with any of that. It has to do with being the cultural ambassador.
Yeah, nothing
and
to do with the
PR
religion.
I
Yes,
totally
yes, right.
understand.
Nothing to
that.
do
I
with the
totally
religion.
understand.
My question
And then
to both of you.
in your case,
My
like
question to
if
both
I'm
of
not
you.
a South American, if I'm not
Yes.
a South American, and you said there's a difference between the Peru's music and your country's music, but if
Yes.
I'm not a South American, I don't know anything.
Yes,
But
I-
how can that music tell me that this
Whatever
music
it is,
totally
that's
belongs to Ecuador? Not
Yes,
because I heard the music from Guatemala.
From Peru and Guatemala.
Guatemala,
They are
and it's
different,
much
I told
similar
you.
to the same thing. And,
Exactly.
yeah.
And the same can be applied to the music in
So-
your country, and the same can be applied to the music in the area of the Middle East, and the same
Well,
can be applied.
Hey,
so you
you
have to
know-
apply
Well,
the
I'm not from the Middle East. I'm from South
of what you're
Asia,
doing.
so you know
Yes.
our music is a little different
So
that I
that's the
showed
problem
here.
there.
It's a little bit-
Gamelan has
you.
become as one
Right.
of the UNESCO. How about you, indigenous
Yeah, it's a
band
World
and
Heritage,
Qawwali?
and that is
When
also
your
World
music
Heritage.
gonna be in the UNESCO?
Well,
When?
Yes,
Well,
it
listen,
is already registered.
Our person's
Three
name
of
is
them.
recorded
They
in
are
the
already
Guinness World
recording in
Record.
Why
the
is
Listen,
it not
you see?
mentioned on the
Oh yeah,
PowerPoint?
listen to
That's
this.
not
Listen
the
to
point
this.
of
Yes, I will
Nusrat
listen.
Fateh Ali Khan, as I said, is a Pakistani Qawwali singer.
Yes.
His name is recorded in the Guinness
Yes.
World Book. So
And
why
the
do
country,
you
yeah. Indigenous music
One
is
minute
also World
remaining.
Heritage.
thing? You know, there are a lot of other
So now,
awards.
all
Oh,
of
you
you
mentioned it?
I said that it's about heritage, but I didn't say it was UNESCO because it's not the point of the presentation.
That's also the point. That's also
It is
the
also-
point.
it is-
It's
it is
about
about-
PR.
It is about PR. It is about like how people
diplomacy.
you see-
Exactly.
Yeah.
So in your case, you focused a lot in the recording industry and a lot of how it works it out, but you didn't really focus on the diplomatic side and the other of what your
Well, I
government
said
side did.
I said we
You
have
said-
now people taking interest in Qawwali
Yeah,
from
you said
Korea,
people
from
are
the
taking
United
interested,
States.
but the point was
and
that
you see, like I
you
have
should highlight the efforts
Do
of
you
the-
have a Korean band which is performing Ecuadorian?
Yes.
Where is it?
It is in
You
Ecuador.
didn't mention it in your
Yes,
PPT.
of course. The
You
point
didn't
is,
mention. Like,
I know.
I
didn't
have
mention
no.
that the point was to
I'm
even
trying to say
out
is
to the country.
people are
Kamalan
taking
is
the
the
efforts
oldest
of your
one.
government to
Kamalan
do
is the
that.
oldest one.
Well,
Since
and you said
1,000
age
years
doesn't
ago.
count.
you said
Give
that
me 5,
however
4, 3,
Doesn't really count in
2,
here.
1, and time's up.
Please stop talking.
Both of you out of
Please stop talking. Now that is how you talk back to your contestants, right?
It's okay.
Please.
Okay, that was some intense 3 minutes, and now it's up to our judges and our studio audience to award the extra 20 points. So judges, please huddle up to make your decisions, and studio audience, please do that as well. All right, our judges and our studio audience have reached a decision. Let's hear from our judges first. Now, that was some intense talkback session, so I'm guessing it was a difficult decision to make, but only one presenter gets your 10 points. Who will that be?
Okay, first I want to say that this was the most fierce talkback for this season. All judges were very pleased with the talkback session. But anyway, out of your 3, we decided that
Drum roll.
10 points will go to Saulo.
Okay, so the judges' extra 10 points goes to Saulo. Now, Saulo and Zahid were very neck and neck with the studio points, so that extra 10 points will help you minimize that gap in the studio. So what will the studio audience, how will they vote for that extra 10 points? Who will it go to? Will it go to Zahid or Alia, or will Saulo get the extra 10 points? All 20 points. The 10 points from our studio audience goes to Zahid.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Okay, so that is all from the studio, but we still have the votes from our application, and the voting is now closed. Stay tuned for the final results. The final results are in my hand. We've added the points from our judges, our studio audience, the extra 20 points, and of course, your vote from the application. I have this season's champion's name in my hand. Whew, this is pretty nerve-wracking, but let's start from the bottom. Whew. Now, if you all remember, the situation in the studio was neck and neck. Coming in 3rd place today is Alia. And now for the big announcement. Who will become this season's champion? Will it be Zahid or Saulo? Are you guys ready to hear the final results?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
please step up to the stage. One of these two presenters will become season 3's champion. Now let me remind you of the studio points. Saulo had 27.5 points and Zahid 29. That's 1.5 points apart, which means that it could change with the online votes. This is the big moment. It's time to crown this season's champion. Who will it be? Saulo or Zahid? The winner is... The winner for season 3 is... Zahid, congratulations!
Judges, studio audience, Bring It On app, bonus point, and the final score.
Let's welcome our new champion, Zahid. Congratulations! Congratulations, Zahid. Did you know that you were going to make it this far and be crowned the new champion?
Well, at first I didn't, but then I started because this show started taking too much of my interest, and I put a lot of efforts in it to be able to make it all the way up here. And I'm really glad that I made it all the way.
Yes, congratulations. You guys are all winners in my book, am I right?
Yeah,
judges?
you're right.
Absolutely.
Let's give it up for our 3 amazing finalists. Survival presentation show, Bring It On. In season 3, you made all 18 presenters and we crowned our new champion, Zahid from Pakistan. You decided who the champion will be and you decided on Zahid. Now next week, we have a brand new season coming up. We have new countries and we have new faces. So stay tuned for season 4 of Bring It On. Until we introduce all fascinating items from around the world, we will continue to bring it on. See you next week. Goodbye.
Good job, man.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Thank you very much. My country first time came to this show, and I'm so proud of it that I made it the champion of this show. I'm really happy. Thank you very much. Thank you.